front, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I was fortunate to be at the front, but I can't see her.
And usually at the back.
Can you see her anywhere?
She's usually at the back.
Back?
Usually.
She's usually at the back, apparently.
Yeah, we'll just sit nice and tall. And I can come to rest the libraries going up. It was because they could see in the future pension and wanted to make the future so they didn't I don't think I would probably do that. I'm already on their list. Well, there's my name.
down. Pull that side. What's that? Torso! And thank you. What's all?
Celebrator priorum benefactorum et fundatorum commemoratio. Ut gradus in iuri civili, in litteris, et in scientia in homines illustrosissimos conferantur honoris causa. Nec nun ut alia perigantur quae ad venerabilem hanc domum spectant. Ite bedelli.
Honoratissime Domine Cancellari, vosque egregi percoratores.
Recadet orator diploma.
Quid multa? Odie enim agmen honorandorum ducit femina. cuius apud nos praesentia, verbis facundius loquitur. Tubis pompa plausu, eam honestamus. Quae magnificentia nihil volerit, nisi signum eset, spei atque admirationis in pectoribus nostris funditus comitae. Hoc igitur ei dicimus. Necessa est, ut in conspectu per multorum ut regrediaris, sed non obliviscimur, te simul ad antiquos lares, et ad urbem memoriae plenem redire. Ic studuisti, ic amicos paravisti, ic juventutis gaudia cognovisti, ic uxor et mater vitam umbratile mecisti, donec amor patriae, ardorqui libertatis vindicandae, domum te voca verunt. Sed coniugem filiadosqui dilectissimos relinquere coge paris, ita ut reditus ad locum natalem, in exilium quodam converteretur. Multos per annos solitudinem vix tolerabilem sustulisti, patientiam atque fortitudinem paene incredibilem praebuisti. Magna nunc laetitia, te rossus oxoniae vasatam salutamus. Tuo in animo, qui affectus misceantur nescimus, nec decet amplius exquirere. Hoc tamen ad firmamus. Silentium tuum, clarius strepitu forensi, et armorum clangoris sonuit. In tenebris tantis, parvola tua lucerna, orbem terrarum illuminavit. Tranquillitas tua, mundum commovit. Intellegimus igitur. Nos in hoc theatro sedentes, simul velutit theatro cunctarum gentium, fabulum spectari, cuius finis aduc maniat, incertus. Quare in praesenti expectamus, speramus, oramus. Praesenter, stellam orientalem, fulgidum magni populi lumen, Aung San Suu Kyi, Collegi Sancti Eugenis alumnam, Collegiorum Sancti Eugenis et Sancti Antoni sociam honoris causa adscriptam, Primio Nobeliano Nobilitatem, ut admittata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in iurici vili.
Libertatis propugnatrix invicta, quae exemplum fortitudinis tuis civibus totique orbi terrarum praebuisti. Ego, auctoritate mea, et totius universitatis admitto te ad gradum doctoris in iure civili honoris causa.
Saipe numero, homines nostris encainiis celebravimus, qui res in conspectu omnium gesserunt. Et in hoc saeculo, cum nuntii per interrete, ut virus velo quisime feruntur, difficillimum est a vita privata oculos vulgi arcere. Ad qui feminam odie produco, quae eo nota est, quod ignota. Vergilius, cum aenean sub terram duxisset, Deus in furorem umbrasque silentes ita obsecravit. Sit mihi fas audita loqui, sit numini vestro, pandere res alta terra et caligine mersas. Mihi met, qui ne res audivi quidem, vel maius obstat impedimentum. Itaque librum consului, qui quis ille inscribitur, ubi speravi eam aliquid de se dixisse, sed bus epiglosse megas bebecem. Hoc tamen ad firmare ausim. Nemo nunc in hoc theatro sedet, qui in beneficium opera eius et labore receperit. Marcus Cicero, salus populi inquit suprema lex esto. Salutem nostram aec, ut ita dicam pro virile parte defendit. Rudiam donata, propter merita senator designatast. Et cum primam sententiam apud patres dixisset, prudentes et brevitatem orationis laudaverunt, et sagacitatem. Illo enim tempore, magistratus homines coniurationis suspectos in carcere per longius volebant teneri, quibus aec restitit. Ita se et securitatis populi et libertatis propugnatricem praebuit. Multas sani res gessit quas nescimus. Unam saltam e caligine in lucem profere possum. Ubi otium habet, fit opilio. Always diligenta ut olium cives tuetur, neque as stacere et fimo aborret. Sed cum saepe negotiis publicis in urbem aduc vocetur, arieti ardor aliquando est continendus. Praecento, tenacem civitatis custodem, Elisabetam Ludiam Baronissam Manningham Bulla, excellentissimi ordinis de balneo dominem commendatricem, vigiliae occultae quondam gubernatricem, aulae dominae Margaretae et alumnam ad sociam honoris causa ad scriptam, ut admittata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in iurici vili.
Dux fortis et constans, quae ad hostibus atrocissimis republicam servavisti. Ego, auctoritate mea, et totius universitatis, admitto te ad gradum doctoris in iure civili honoris causa.
In obscurum silvam iterum est eundem. Ecce enim vir ut Democritus ille junior, paucis notus, paucioribus ignotus. Nam licet verum eius nomen non multi agnoscant, cognomen ignorat ferre nemo. Farmam autem, non solum propter libros ipsos bene meruit, sed quia id genus narrationis quod collit, non Paulum mutavit. Apud Graecos et Romanos, fabulae commenticiae, aud multi aestimabantur. Literarum existimatores de eis silebant, Tacitus, quum vitam Petronii brevita exponeret, de satiricis nihil dixit. Recentioris aetatis docti, fabulas oratione soluta compositas, multo magis laudaverunt. Eos tamen qui de occultis arcanorum exploratoribus scribebant, aduc censorio supercilio conspicabantur. Equia, dum juvenis est, libellum de nece inter generosos perpetrata, illo stillo quo excalebat Agatha nostra ex aravit, quod lepido sani calamo est executus. Sed cum primum de exploratore illo a frigere reverso scripsiset, omnes novum sidus in caelum ascendici viderunt. Non enim viros pul cerimam quamque facile alicientes, vestituque grandi alia ludentes depingit. Imo fraudem, dolos, homines velut in caino et tenebris errantes, repraesentat. Praeteria cum argumento fabulae lectores arigit, tum loca tam vivide scribit, ut nos oculis auribus naribus ea sentiri videamur. In alio libro, sunt senes inquit, qui Oxoniam regressi, credunt ipsos lapides sibi de sua juventuti loqui. Adit Georgium Smiley, eum qui primas partes in suis libris non raro agit, aliter credidisse. Quidquid ipsi de urbe nostra judicat, magna liberalitate, cartas in scrinis suis conditas bibliothecae Bodleianae dedit, quare non solum bonum scriptorem, sed bonum etiam amicum, odie salutamus. Praesento, fabularum textorum artificiosissimum, David Joannem Moore Cornwall, aliter Joannem Quadratum nominatum, collegii Lincolnensis, et alumnum et socium honoris causa ad scriptum, ut admittata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in litteris.
Scriptor ingeniosissime, qui lectores simul delectas et commoves, ego auctoritate mea et totius universitatis admitto te ad gradum doctoris in litteris honoris causa.
Qui de rebus Americanis scribet, plerumque victorias, imperium semper auctum, prosperitatem fere in annum crescentem persequetur. Sed abinc centum quinquaginta annis, anc felicitatem interrupit bellum civile. Et exterae gentes, caedem et vastationem, populumque potentem, in sua victrici conversum viscera dextra, maesti obstupefactique viderunt. Feminam nunc produco, cuius maiores per multa saecula clarissimum locum sua in patria occupaverunt. Proabus senato creatus est, atavus in gentis nominis in theologia potitus. Ipsa, in latifundiis eius regionis, equa magna illa seditio erupit, est educata. Annis ab sedecim, librum de matribus inventionis, ut dicit, edidit. Erant iam qui vitis mulierum septentrionalem Americae partem habitantium studuerant. Aec tamen, feminas amplioris ordinis in meridionali regioni natas, quas antiac docti aliquantum praeter miserant, perscrutare maluit. Acuto calamo aerumnos earum descripsit, quae antebellum omnia families commiserant, nunc necessitati coactae laborabant, puros educabant, vulneratos fovebant. In celeberrimo e libris suis, qui titulus Aec doloris res publica, nec clea andron, nec viros machene escudianeram ruentes, sed angorem cruciatus tormenta describit. In hoc enim bello nova armorum genera stragem in immensum auxerunt, quam nova ars photographica arca bissime monstrabat, ita ut mors ut putat, pectora omnium Americanorum funditus inquietaret. Quas res sermone non tumido, sed eloquenti exposuit. Ad laetiora transio. Hanc enim ob hoc quoque honestamus, quod prima e sexu muliebri ad summum munus in vetustissima suae patriae universitate ascenderit. Progenus magnae eam difficultates ibi circumstaterunt, divitiis aud Paulum imminutis. At qui nos met, da veniam quaeso domina, sane gauderemus talibus angustiis pressi. In tempore hoc incerto, ducem se et custodem universitatis sagacem praebuit. Ipsius domum Cantabrigiae custodit Clio canis, quae omnes praeter dominum et dominam dicita momo disse. Mentem ipsius animumque, musae et Clio et Melpomene, afflato suo inspirant. Praecento, rerum scriptricem humanissimam, academiae gubernatricem in defessam, Catherinam Dru Gilpin Faust, Universitatis Harvardianae praesidem, ut admittata honoris causa, ad gradum doctoris in litteris.
Historiae magistra oculatissima, quae et in libris et perfecta tua doctrinam promovisti, ego doctoratate mea, et totius universitatis admitto te ad gradum doctoris in litteris honoris causa.
Japonicorum industriae solatiae artificio, quis laudem recuset, haud facile imaginem photographicam facere, vel orbem pornographicam audiri possis, nisi machinis eorum iutaris. Qui autem suam autarchean diligenta serva verunt, neque extorarum gentium auxilium requirere videntur. Odie tamen, virum honestamus qui illa claustra refregit, et in societate Japonica ad summum fastigium ascendit. Inter Cambrenses natus, populum animosum atque eloquentem, nec nimia vere cundia impeditum, in Anglia educatus, tum Oxoniam venit, ubi historiae studuit, magistrum qui suum, o si omnes, maximi dicta aestima visse. Mox aduc juvenis ad Americam parexit, ubi multos per annos apud societatem televisificam operatus est, et multa ibi praemia recepit. Quare, si totum aetatis cursum illo modo degere maluisset, successu aud pavo fructus esset. Sed novos campos explorare avebat, novas laureas mereri. Itaque in mercatorum tabularium se contulit, quo in loco adeo floruit, ut societatis suae dux primo in America tum toto orbe terrarum fieret. Multi quidem illo tempore naufragium fecerunt. Iquia ut bonus navis rector, suos per saxa et tempestates solata advexit. Quamquam modo in Asia, modo in America, longa per tempora habitavit, patriae non oblitus est, domumque in comitatu nostro Oxoniensi possidet. Ludum seris misceri novit, neque ei est monendum, ut in loco studium lucri ponat. Libros colligit, arte kinematographica maxime delectator, de fortunis atletarum Cambrensium ardenta exquirit. Optimus convivator, Oxonienses, Oxoniaequi fautores, novi aborici et in California, magnifico hospitio accepit. Qui nunc et grates offerimus, et laudationem. Praesento, virum comerci peritissimum, verum universitatis nostrae amicum, Howard Stringer, equitem auratum, societatis Soni, gubernatorem, collegi Mertonensis, et alumnum et socium honoris causa ad scriptum, ut admittata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in litteris.
Mercator sagacissime, qui tanta negotia rebus in arduis bene sunt sustenivisti. Ego auctoritate mea, et totius universitatis, admitto te ad gradum doctoris in litteris honoris causa.
Sunt qui existiment philosophiam in Republica gubernanda Paulum Valeri. Ita Cicero Catonem reprehendit, quia sententiam tamquam in Platonis Politea diceret, non ut homo inter homines. Putunt alii, philosophos res solum explicuisse, nec satis condendisse, ut eas meliores redorent. Virum autem nunc produco, cuius exemplo et os et illos confutari possis. Ubi premium Rhodesianum adeptus, primum apud nos studuit. Philosophorum Oxoniensum doctrina, in magna orbis terrarum parte praevalebat. Qui credebant, si verborum significationem recte interpretarentur, rerum quoquinatoram fore ut intellegerent. Quos outquaquem negligebat, sed rationem eorum et alias quaestiones adibere malebat. Constat inter doctos eum studium ton politicum, quod illi forsitan aliquantulo fastidio intuerentur, dignum atque etiam iucundum rossus redidisse. Nam cum scit res per difficiles et per obscuras, lucido sermone explanare, tum ea quae pectra humana in imis medullis commovent, vult per scrutari, quare de mori atque cultu, de civitate, de omnibus denique, per quae inter se mortales mutua vivunt, copioso sermoni disputavit. Multos post annos, professor Cicilianus creatus, uc iterum se contulit, sed amor patriae maior erat, quam ut Diu apud nos maneret. Dixit Cicero, ubi de legibus dicerebat, sibi atque omnibus municipibus, duas esse patrias, unam naturae, alterum civitatis. Simili modo, iquia, Quebeciae alumnus, modos examinavit, quibus cives ibi Franco Galli, pietatem erga avos parita et rem publicam praestent. Ade quod ic et theoretices et practices dianoias magister, ter vel quata suffragia populi petivit, quam rem solum non optime gessit. Sed vocem et si non in parliamento sonuit, in Canada aliisque terris, intento animo auscultant plurimi. Praesento, philosophum prudentem et fervidum, Carolum Margrave Taylor, excellentissimi ordinis Canadae comitem, Academiae Britannicae socium, Collegii Baliolensis et alumnum et socium honoris causa ad scriptum, Collegii omnium animarum socium bis electum, ut admitata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in litteris.
Sapientiae et humanitatis exemplum, tu qui humanae generis societatem summa ingeniae acumene descripsisdi. Ego auctoritate mea, et totius universitatis, admitto te ad gradum doctoris in litteris, honoris causa.
Apoplexis ictum, quis non timet. Nemo sane est, qui in amicos vel cognatus abiat illa peste adflictos, vel sit ipsi percussus. Recte igitur humani generis amicus vocatur, qui, ut ic quem videtis, rationem eius arcendae invenerit. Iterum hominem e Canadensibus clarissimum produco, ad ic novi castelli in septentrionalibus nostrae patriae partibus natus est. Festive dicit, domum natalem antea lupana fuisse. Pater tamen erat sacerdos et episcopus creatus trans oceanum cum suis migravit. Ipse tirocinio completo ad Britanniam reversus, aliquod tempus apud nos Oxonienses studuit, tum domum rossus petivit. Magnam ibi famam propter multa praeclare reperta mox nactus est. Causam cuiustam generis apoplexis, quam docti antea debilitati corridis affinxerant, venis coartatis attribuendam esse monstravit. Cum conlegis, ic primus probavit medicamentum iam ad parvos morbos leniendos ad ibitum, arterias quoque protegere aliquantum valere. At cum hoc, utile sane et salutare, neque apoplexin, nec dementiam omnino prohibere posset, alios modos morbi sanandi quae sivit, comparitque, si venae in cervice sitae velut tubuli illuvie obstructi de tergerentur, sanguine ad cerebrum facilius fluente, multo minus fore morbi accessionis periculum. Praeterea, doctos docuit, quomodo corpora hominum forte temere selectorum scrutati, aestimare possent utrum senio, and sanguinis densitate, and ea dulcedinis repugnantia, quam diabete invocant, maxime periclitarentur. Quare, ab omnibus princeps eorum abetur neurologum, qui causas apoplexis exquirunt. Auroris amainitatum amator, avium observator intentissimus, avus pro avusque diligens et dilectus, otium optime meritum, nunc in agresti regioni Ontarionis agit, sed cruda viro viridisque senectus. Praecento, Hippocrates antistitem insignissimum, Enricum Iosepum Macaulay Barnett, excellentissimi ordinis Canadae comitem, institutionis Robatianae conditorem et quondam rectorem, ut admittata honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in scientia.
Artis medicae magister praestantissime, cuius operae per multi sanitatem vitamque ipsam debent. Ego doctoritate mea et totius universitatis admitto te ad gradum doctoris in scientia honoris causa.
Lucretius, quem moles et machina mundi tanto amore cepit. Semina rerum perpetuum contrudi, dissolvi, eiecta recedi, nullo denique tempore in eodem loco remorari docuit. Et recte. Hoc enim rerum naturae studiosi nostra aetate reparerunt. Vaporis corpuscula minima, si in eo tepore extant, quo nostris in aedibus frui solemus, non minus ve locita quam sonus continuo moventur. Nemo antea os motus satis coibere poterat. Ic tamen quem nunc produco, atomos luminis radiis oppugnavit, et vi magnetis spierisque feriis velut in plagam coegit. Sed cum plaga ipsa non adio valeat ut atomos diu retiniat, vigor earum proprius in modico frigere est supprimendus. Quod tanta peritia ic fecit, ut paene ad extremum galationis gradum pervenerit, qui naturae foederibus conceditur. Itaque per eum stat, ut docti nunc melius sciant, quibus modis semina luminis et materi ei inter se mutuo agant. Ut melius intelligant, quae vis sit in vaporibus, si frigidissimis in facti, fortasse ut machinas construere possint, ad temporis intervalla per atomos vel exactius metienda. Ipse, eam alacritatem praebet, quam in corpusculis repressit. Constat inter omnes eum licet multis iamanoribus cumulatus sit, se semper comem, lenem, humanum praebuisse. Nullum in eo fastum, nullam esse superbiam. Dicunt amici, puerile quadam voluptate, arcanis naturae studere. Aut quam sani ei opus est, ut illo domini nostri praecepto maniatur, nisi efficiamini sicut Pauli, non intrabitis in regnum caelorum. In hoc autem a Lucretio dissentit, Deum in rerum natura percipit, et contra homines scientiam naturalem religione repugnari ad fermentes disputavit. Praecenter, molecularum domitorem et frenatorem, naturae rerum indagatorum solatissimum, Gulielmum Danielem Phillips, apud Universitatem Marylandianam professorem, apud Baliolenses quondam professorem Eastmanianum, praemio nobiliano nobilitatum, ut admittator honoris causa ad gradum doctoris in scientia.
Parvarum rerum domine magnae, cuius conspectum corpuscula vel minutusissima, evadere nequeunt, ego auctoritate mea, et totius universitatis, admitto te ad gradum doctoris in scientia honoris causa.
Honoratus me Dominic Ancillari, licetni Anglicae loqui. Thank you, sir. I know it's showing off, but I like to demonstrate that I can do English too. But since I'm a pedant, first though, a word of ancient Greek. Ensenia means renewals. This is the day on which we look back on the past with gratitude, at the present with pleasure, though I trust without complacency, and at the future with hope. We are a very old university, but we are also new. At this time each year, we think of the fresh young shoots constantly springing from our ancient soil, richly fertilized as it is by old, decaying organic matter, well rotted. I see it before me today. This is also the time when we honor a small number of people who have achieved high distinction in various fields. Usually a judicious mixture of Oxonians to suggest that we do a respectable job of educating people, and the rest of the world to suggest that our outlook is global. We invite them for the date of Insignia, and occasionally, if that is impossible for them, we ask them back the next year. I regret to report that one of today's graduates has kept us waiting 19 years. Well, it has been worth the wait. All honorands are, of course, equal, but none of them will mind my adding on this occasion that some are more equal than others. This is a special day for us. But, as I have already indicated in a learned language, there is really no need for words. I shall keep on saying that. Welcome, also, welcome back. The motto, never apologise, never explain, has sometimes been attributed to an Oxford Don, indeed to a Balliol man, not altogether surprisingly. And indeed, the relentlessly hearty tone of this oration usually leaves no room for hesitation or uncertainty. But I have to confess that I made a mistake last year when I implied that Mr. David Willits was educated at Cambridge. He is, of course, a Christchurch man, and like most of those who govern us, read PPE. A junior member of the oratorical research team has been disciplined. Clearly, I should apologise to someone, but I'm not quite sure who. When I admitted my error to one of our high functionaries, the reply was, "Oh, we thought you were referring to the Vice-Chancellor." Worse and worse. I shall never be a Pro-Vice-Chancellor now. But eager to ingratiate myself, I have Googled Oxford Vice-Chancellor Inspirational. 1 million results. Vice-Chancellor Honours Inspirational Teachers. Ah, well. Of course, if you get rid of the Vice-Chancellor, you do much better. Google Oxford Inspirational on its own, and the results exceed 7 million. We would expect no less. The news story referred to one of the happiest events of the year, when we celebrated school teachers nominated by their own former pupils for their work in transforming young lives, and all of us tutors were reminded that we have exacting standards to live up to. Among the 7 million reasons for being inspired by Oxford is the quality of our students. We have had a splendid gift from BP plc for student support and for the BP Professor of Economics. Deservedly, there has been much publicity for the munificent donation by Mrs. Mika Ertegun to establish Ertegun House and the Mika and Ahmet Ertegun Graduate Scholarship Programme in the Humanities. This year, 2 prize winners from each of the divisions have been singled out for recognition today. Their names are in your programme books, and some of them have been rounded up and corralled below the Chancellor. I ask them now to stand to receive the tribute of your applause. Another sign of our intellectual vitality is the extraordinary range of subjects appearing in the lecture lists. It seems to have been an especially good year for Friedrich Nietzsche, though I was not myself present when representatives of the Journal of Nietzsche Studies, Nietzsche Studien, New Nietzsche Studies, Estudios Nietzsche, Nietzsche Forschungen, Quadernos Nietzsche, and the Nietzsche News Center gathered in this city to hear a lecture entitled, "Do We Need a New Nietzsche Journal?" My nomination for the shortest lecture of the year. The visitor of University College, Oriel and Christchurch has marked 60 years in these offices, and the nation has celebrated her, damp but enthusiastic. One consequence of this Jubilee year is that I have learnt about the privileged bodies. There are 27 bodies which have the privilege of presenting a loyal address to the Sovereign and hearing a reply from the Sovereign's own lips. The University of Oxford stands second in this line of precedence, with only the Church of England ahead of it. This university may have been founded by King Alfred, or so we have sometimes claimed in our more rhapsodical moments, but the church was founded by Jesus Christ, so we gracefully defer. The privileged bodies have exercised their right 4 times in the present Queen's reign, at her accession and at each of the 3 Jubilees. Accordingly, a budget rent-a-van containing the Vice-Chancellor, proctors and assorted university worthies set out from Wellington Square for Buckingham Palace one sunny day in March. As we swept into the palace forecourt, we could see a mass of tourist cameras pointed at us, and it may be that even now, in Shanghai or San Francisco, a family is clustering round the video to watch the arrival of the state rent-a-van, with the legend www.budget.com proudly emblazoned on its sign. Better that, I suppose, than www.conspicuousexpenditure.com. As for the ceremony itself, Her Majesty sat serenely for an hour while a succession of dignitaries, from the Archbishop of Canterbury to the Mayor of Maidenhead, told her that she was absolutely wonderful in every possible way, and I thought I could cope with a good deal of that myself. The one politician present was Mr. Johnson of Balliol, representing the Greater London Authority. He assured the Queen that London had always been foremost in its loyalty to the Crown. I'm not so sure about that. I seem to remember that there was some awkwardness in the 1640s, and Oxford had to step in. Mr. Johnson read greats, of course, not modern history. Last month, in the local elections, the nation swung against the government. The one exception was in the capital, where the prospect of losing an Oxonian as mayor was more than Londoners could face. Meanwhile, this university, like others, was exercised when Mr. Osborne of Magdalen proposed in his budget to limit higher rate tax relief on charitable giving. The Deputy Prime Minister explained that the change was needed because rich people living literally on another galaxy were not paying British taxes. Sounds fair enough to me. But then Mr. Clegg is a Cambridge man, literally from another planet. Of course, once Mr. Osborne learnt that his alma mater disapproved of his plans, he dropped them right away. 2 more of us have made a small contribution to the Jubilee. Professor Nick Mayhew, keeper of the Heberden Coin Room, served on the committee selecting the commemorative coinage, and I was myself consulted on a Latin motto proposed for it. Accentuating the positive as always, I was able to report that the word et and was correct. The other words were not. I was then asked for my own suggestions, the shortest of which now appears on the £5 piece, and I now know that I have written 2 words that will endure. A pity it's not more than 2. The words imagined and spoken by the Queen are Dilecta Regno, I reign beloved. The events of this month have surely justified that claim. And I'm hoping once again, if not for a knighthood, then at least for a special mention in the impact section of the RAF. On which Wikipedia can provide reliable guidance, as on so much else. You may have noticed the statement that precedes some of its entries. This article may contain original research. Please improve it. Statements consisting only in original research may be removed. That's the spirit. Let's keep positive. We came second in the boat race. I would not revert to that vexing day, but for the performance of the ISIS-8, which achieved the fastest time by a reserve crew and the third fastest recorded by any crew on the tideway, a remarkable feat. But naturally, it is the academic achievements that we value most. This year, we have won the Queen's Anniversary Prize for the 8th time, more often than any other university. On this occasion, the award went to Wild Crew, the Wildlife Conservation Research Unit. Our website marked this success with pictures of various endangered species, the gibbon, the Bornean clouded leopard, and the Ethiopian wolf, and the unit's director, Professor David MacDonald, who was depicted with a broad smile and a cheetah beside him. The cheetah is smiling too. So Professor MacDonald may be an endangered species himself. Meanwhile, naturalists in the Philippines have succeeded in photographing the Mindoro warty pig, one of the world's shyest animals. It must be the warts. Honestly, we hardly noticed. The Times Good University Guide has ranked us in first place for the 11th year in succession. In other league tables, we bob up and down a bit. Now, this oration is nothing if it is not educative, and I have pointed out before that the essence of academic judgment is to select wisely from the mass of material before one. Last year, the spotlight fell on the QS World Rankings, which gave our humanities the #1 slot. This year on the Times Higher Education World Rankings, which put us first for medicine, overtaking some American institution. Overall, they ranked us the best university in Europe. We can hope for our medical research to get even better, as the Matilda and Terence Kennedy Institute of Rheumatology Trust has made a magnificent gift for the Kennedy Institute of Rheumatology Research Building and core funding for the next 10 years. Since rheumatology is the subject, we can sincerely say, in the words that newlyweds use in their thank you letters, that this is a gift that we shall value more and more as the years go by. Lord Franks, I believe, has hitherto been the only person to head to Oxford colleges, and the Second World War came between these appointments. No such catastrophe has marked Mr. Andrew Dilnot's progress from St Hugh's to Nuffield, where he will succeed Professor Steve Nickel. Dame Elish Angiolini will be his own successor. Professor Paul Langford will retire from Lincoln. Lord MacDonald of River Glavon will follow Sir Neil Chalmers at Wadham, and Professor Werner Jeanron will take over from Dom Felix Stevens at St Benet's. Professor Margaret Snowling will be Sir Michael Scholars' successor at St John's. Professor Snowling is an expert on reading disability, and St John's say that she is just what they were looking for. It is noticeable how much older heads of societies are at the time of appointment than they used to be. Indeed, we are always anxious to avoid ageism. The University Museum of Natural History has welcomed its latest resident, a hominid 1.9 million years old, while more cautiously, Wellington Square has added 2 years to the retirement age. At the new year, Professors Geoffrey Hill and Dermot McCulloch were knighted, Professor Lionel Tarasenko received a CBE, and Professor Walker an MBE. In the birthday honours, Professor Lorna Castleton has been awarded a CBE, and Professor Anne Buchanan an MBE. Professor Castleton's research is on the sexual development of fungi, but this family-friendly oration can reveal no more. The British Academy has elected 7 of us to its fellowship: Professors John Baines, Cecile Fabre, Andrew Hurrell, Laura Marcus, Lyndall Roper, and Jeremy Waldron, and Dr. Ruth Harris, while Professors Dominic Joyce and Ian Walmsley have become Fellows of the Royal Society. We congratulate them all. As always, I call to mind those friends and colleagues who have died in the past year, among whom were John Bailey, Fellow of All Souls, Giles Barber, Fellow of Linacre, Sir Zelman Cohen, Provost of Oriel, Robin Denniston, Student of Christ Church, Ursula Dronke, Fellow of Linacre, Sir Michael Dummett, Fellow of New College, Keith Gore, Fellow of Worcester, David Graham Smith, Fellow of Corpus Christi, Joseph Hatton, Fellow of Exeter, Richard Hawkins, Fellow of Keble, Christopher Jones, Fellow of St Peter's, Patricia Keane, Fellow of Lady Margaret Hall, Frank Parkin, Fellow of Magdalen, Stephen Rawlings, Fellow of St Peter's, Bede Rundle, Fellow of Trinity, Siegbert Prava, Fellow of Queen's, James Urmson, Fellow of Corpus Christi, and Brian Warren, Fellow of Linacre. Requiescant in pace, et in aeternum luceat eis, Dominus Illuminatio Mea. A few of these names are known to the wider world. Each of them means something special to someone here today. I learned something about the use of memory a little while ago when I visited East Morton in Dorset. Lawrence of Arabia, Colonel Lawrence of Jesus and All Souls, is buried in the village cemetery, and a few visitors each day come to see his tomb. But in the church there is a memorial of another kind, an engraved glass window designed by Sir Lawrence Whistler of Balliol, placed in tribute to a pilot killed in the Second World War. It shows his crashed Spitfire and the house that he shared with the wife to whom he was so briefly married. But there is no name, and like other visitors to the church, I do not know who he was. It is an expression of love, both public and hidden. There is no attempt to guard a name from time's oblivion. The act of devotion is enough. And so it shall be with us. Today we think with thankfulness on all who have served this university, past and present, known and unknown. We too shall be forgotten, almost all of us, but memory itself and the habit of gratitude abide. This is an especially memorable day. After all, it may be, just possibly, the day on which classical Latin prose has achieved its biggest live audience ever. Cicero can eat his heart out.
Invitamus Aung San Suu Kyi ut ad venerabilem hanc domum loquatur.
Today, many lives have come together. The years that I spent as a student at St. Hugh's, the years I spent at Parktown as a wife and mother, the years I spent under house arrest when my university, the University of Oxford, stood up and spoke up for me. During the most difficult years, I was upheld by memories of Oxford. These were among the most important inner resources that helped me to cope with all the challenges I had to face. The memories were in fact very simple ones. Summer days like these, when I went on the charwell with friends in a punt, or sat reading on the lawn at St. Hugh's, or in the library, not looking at the book, but out of the windows. But these were very precious memories, because I had lived a happy life. And this made me understand so much better the young people of Burma who wanted to live a happy life and who had never been given an opportunity to lead one. When I see Oxford now, when I see the students of Oxford now, when I met some of them at St. Hugh's yesterday, I saw myself again as a young student, carefree, happy, nice. We were nice. The students now are nice. They have been given a chance to be nice. It's a very simple word, but it's an important one. When you look at their faces, you don't see any hidden agenda there. They were so open as we were open, because we had been given a chance to be open. We were not afraid. There was no reason for us to be afraid, and this opened us to the world. I remember small things. I remember so often going in a bus with my very dear friend Anne Pasnick-Slater, sitting side by side in a bus on the Banbury Road, our four denim-clad knees next to each other, and Anne looked down and said, "It's not fair, even knees are different." And it was true. I think, I'm not quite sure which way it was, but one set of knees was pointed and one set of knees was round. And these were the sort of things we noticed as students and talked about and built a whole philosophy on this little fact that we had different sets of knees. Our knees were shaped differently. The world was shaped differently, but we were not afraid of it. The differences meant that we were all the stronger. We learned how to cope with the different problems that we would have to face. I have to mention one of my fellow honorants at this time, because when I was under house arrest, I was also helped by the books of John le Carre. They were an escape. I won't call it an escape. They were a journey into the wider world, not the wider world just of other countries, but of thoughts and ideas. And these were the journeys that made me feel that I was not really cut off from the rest of humankind. I was never alone, because there were many, many avenues to places far away from where I was. And all this I was able to do to a great extent because of the years I spent at Oxford. The friends I made there. The most important thing for me about Oxford was not what I learned there in terms of set text and set books we had to read, but in terms of a respect for the best in human civilization. And the best in human civilization comes from all parts of the world. It is not limited to Oxford, it is not limited to Burma, it is not limited to any other country. But the fact that in Oxford I had learned to respect all that was the best in human civilization helped me to cope with what was not quite the best, because what is not yet quite the best may still one day become the best. It may be improved. It gave me a confidence in humankind. It gave me a confidence in the innate wisdom of human beings, not given to all of us, but given to enough of us for the rest of the world to share and to make use of it for others. I have often thought that the saddest thing about Burma over the last few decades has been the lack of campus life for our university students. Campus life means a life in which young people can create their own world or make the world their own. They have the freedom and the facilities to do so. Our young people in Burma have not had this freedom for the last few decades. University life has been shattered because of a perceived need to keep students in order. But that's not possible. Everybody knows that students can't be kept in order. So we shouldn't spend our time on such a futile and really undesirable mission. I would like to see university life restored to Burma in all its glory. And I would be so grateful if my old university, the University of Oxford, could help to bring this about once again. I would like our young people to know what it is to feel that the world belongs to them and they belong to the world. To be able to stand at the threshold of full adulthood in full confidence that they will be able to do their best for the world, and in the belief that the world also wants to do the best for them. Oxford taught me to value humankind, because when I was in Oxford, I was the only student from Burma. I think I was the only Burmese resident in the university for the first couple of years. And all my friends were non-Burmese, of course, the English students, but students from all over the world, from Ghana, from India, from Thailand, from Sri Lanka, from all over the world. And I never felt that they were different from me. We were all the same. We were all students of this university, which has some magic that makes us feel that nothing separates us, neither religion, nor race, nor nationality, nor even different levels of excellence in academic affairs. Oxford is a place of tremendous broad-mindedness. Nobody discriminates against anybody else because he or she may be different or may not have achieved as much as others. Every human being is expected to have a value and a dignity of her kind or his kind. And that's why, throughout the years when I was struggling for human rights in Burma, I felt I was doing something of which my old university would have approved. And to feel the approval behind me has helped me a great deal. Burma is now at the beginning of a road. It is not the sort of road that you find in England. It is not smooth. It is not well maintained. In fact, it is not yet there. It is a road that we will have to carve out for ourselves. This is a road that we will have to build as we go along. Too many people are expecting too much from Burma at this moment. They think that the road where we are standing is like one of those highways on which I traveled from London to Oxford and almost got car sick. But very straight, very smooth. Too smooth and too straight, perhaps, for me, because I'm not used to such smoothness. But our road is one which is, as I said, one we'll have to build for ourselves, inch by difficult inch. And I hope that you will all be with us while we're doing this. I hope that you will understand that this road is there in our hearts and minds, but not actually there yet in real fact, and that we would need your help and the help of others all around the world to make sure that it leads to where we want our country to go. And where do I want my country to go? My first trip abroad in 24 years was not really this one to Europe, but to Thailand towards the end of May. And I stayed in a hotel called the Shangri-La. And I think every Oxonian, probably, or most every, knows that in The Lost Horizon, Shangri-La was described as something a little like Oxford. So, where do we want to go to? Where I want to go to, where I want our people to go to, is a place which will enable them to see for themselves how wide open the world can be, and how to find our own place in the world, which is also open enough and wide enough for everybody to be included. I would like a bit of Oxonian Shangri-La in Burma. This is what I would like to work towards. Very practical, because it's based on hard work and knowledge and modern research, and of course funding. We mustn't forget funding, which is a very important part of building any kind of successful institution these days. And I mention it because I would like all our friends, all our well-wishers to remember that investing in Burma should be done with a sense of responsibility, and to remind those who are thinking of making use of the new opportunities that Burma is offering, to remember that we, the people of Burma, need to benefit from these investments as much as the investors themselves. Please help us to make sure that all investments in Burma, business, development, humanitarian, all these, in a sense, are investments, that these investments are democracy-friendly and human rights-friendly, that these investments will help to promote in our country the kind of values for which you stand, the kind of values that you taught me. Today has been a very moving day for me. Moving because I have found that the past is always there. It never goes away. But you can select what is best from the past to help you go forward to the future. In my college, my old college, St. Hugh's, I found that I could recognize every bit of it, even though there were very many new buildings, yet they had merged in with the old. It was such a harmonious picture of the old and the new standing together as a promise for the future. I was very proud to be back in my old college and warmed by the reception given to me and my team, by the principal of the college and his family, and by the students. The warmth of the students was wonderful. I felt that I was back again in my young student days. I didn't feel any different from them. And in a sense, I'm no different now to the young student who was at Oxford so many years before. But also I'm different because I've had to face different experiences. But I bring all these experiences back to me here at Oxford, and I find that Oxford is big enough and broad enough to contain my new experiences as well. The road ahead, as I said, is not going to be easy, but Oxford, I know, expects the best of its own. And today, because they have recognized me as its very own, I'm strengthened to go forward, to give of my very best in meeting the new challenges that lie ahead. Thank you all very much for staying.
Dissolvimus hanc congregationem.
Come forward to the mark.
And a quick smile if you would mind.
Just looking down to this camera, please. Thank you. And look up, please.
Please smile.
Possibly.
Got a wide shot? Got a wide shot and two showing the press?
And look up, please. Look up, please. Just down to the top, please. Thank you very much. Very good. Okay, thank you very much. Just one more, just one more. And just down to just to this one, please. Thank you so much. Just one more down to this one, please. Yes, could you just to your right, just to your right. That's it.
Still on two?
A little bit more. That's brilliant. That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Do you want me to widen out? Anything?
And if you could take it in the same step.
Please come back to the seat.
That's it.
A little bit more, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Normally.
Pleasure, Dave.
No, no, no. No, she's coming out.
It's been a scratch.
I'm not going back for him.